Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outpour pre-show. Are you guys excited?
Hello, everybody. We have finally made it to Outpour. It's different this year, but we finally made it. We want to connect with you guys as we mentioned. This is our pre-show, and we're waiting for you guys to come in. So before we get started, we know how we are at Outpour. We're not selfish, right?
Right.
Like, we're selfless. We want everybody to see this. So we want you to, should they share, Mia?
They should.
They should hit the share button because we're live on Facebook. So who should they share it with? Let's see.
Everyone.
Everyone. Your mom.
Everyone.
Your cousins, your family, your friends. I'm going to even do it right now. I got my handy dandy iPad and I'm going to literally share. And I'm going to hit the share button. You need to join me. So I'm so excited about tonight. Mia, how are you doing?
I am doing really well. Honestly, I'm so excited that I even had the opportunity to really do this. This is my first time actually doing something like this. So honestly, I'm very excited. I'm excited to be back in a church. I'm excited to be back with the Outpour fam. I'm just excited to be here.
Come on.
Honestly. So yeah.
So, okay, I was telling Mia, for those of you guys who don't know us, I'm Ivana, and I've been with Outpour for a long time, and we have with us.
My name is Mia
Yes.
Concepcion. I've also been with Outpour since my sophomore year of college.
Awesome. So before we get started and getting into the night, I was telling Mia on the way here, even though we are in you guys' homes, it's different. So much has happened over the past year. It's been a lot.
Yes.
The last time we were doing this, we were in the ballroom. Where were we? We were at Hampton.
We were
at Hampton, and we had a good time. I remember we beat the hurricane.
Oh my god, I remember that.
We beat the hurricane. They projected that we would have a hurricane coming into, and we would not have the service. It would disrupt the service, but we made it, guys. And like I said, even though it's different, we're glad to hang out with you.
Yes.
So what's been going on in your life since? See, we do this every year, right? Outpour brings everybody. So I want to know what's been going on with you, Mia.
Well, right now I'm currently a senior at Hampton University.
Wait, at where? At what school? What was that?
Hampton University, the real HU.
The real HU. For those of you that don't know,
Yes,
here at Outpour, we love our HBCUs, our historically black colleges, universities, but we really love that Hampton University.
Yes, we really do.
What else have you been up to, Mia?
So honestly, I've really just kind of been preparing for my career path.
Come on. Yeah.
I feel like given that it's senior year and we're in the middle of a pandemic, just so much is happening, and
So much.
I feel like it's really teaching me how to adult, and it's really taking me outside of my comfort zone. Adulting is not easy.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's really just preparing me for reality. I feel like life, I'm really getting a reality check. And,
Come on.
It's
Reality check.
just,
That's a good way to put it.
I'm really getting a reality check. But nonetheless, I'm really excited. I see so many of my friends just thriving, making big moves, getting into grad school. So I'm really excited about where I'm at right now.
That's
I'm
good.
excited for what's to come.
That's
And
good.
I'm just trying to just really be optimistic. Despite everything that's happening, there's still so much good that still is happening.
Do y'all hear this? She's in a good place. This is Mia. Mia's a student at Hampton. If you're just tuning in, guys, we want you to share this video. If you think that you accidentally stumbled upon just a conversation, you did stumble upon a conversation. But after this, we're about to go worship, right, Mia?
Yeah.
It's going to be great. But just to go back to what you said, I love how you said you are comfortable with where you are and where everything is with you right now, and you seeing other people win in your community. That's really good, and I feel like that's what we do here. For those of you that don't know, for Outpour, we have everybody from high school students that have attended our events to college students to grad school students. Wherever you are, it's always good to connect. And it's been crazy, like I mentioned earlier, how we haven't seen each other since we were all in person. But then we've been disrupted by COVID. So, what is that? That's a beast, right? What does that look like for you, as a student?
I think that being a student in the middle of COVID, not even gonna lie, it is challenging. Okay.
I hope y'all relating to us. Okay,
I
please.
mean, like just to be
Come on.
like 100% honest, I feel like having online classes is really just teaching me so much more discipline. Whereas, like physically, like you have to be held accountable. Like you have to actually be present for someone to tell you, oh, do this, do that, be here at this time. But now, like because we're online, you technically don't really have to, but it's like known like I need to do this. It's like
Come on.
I'm even noticing I think just amongst a lot of different college students, like the lack, I guess you could say, like the lack of motivation.
Ooh,
because instead
that's
of
a good
going
one.
to like the library to go and do your homework, you're going to maybe like your back room like I am, or the kitchen table to do your homework. You know what I mean? And it's like you're not really able, like So yeah, I think it's difficult, but at the same time, again, I guess the upside is that it's really just teaching us discipline, and it's teaching me specifically like how it's so important to be connected. I find myself often like having to remind myself, like if I were at Hampton right now, like what would I be doing? Where would I be going? Who would I be doing it with? So just kind of trying to like maintain that same mindset, like 3:00 I'm going to the library. So if I'm home, it's like okay, like it's 3:00, like I need to go and do my homework, whether it be in my back room, whether it be at the library, just somewhere. But just kind of trying to mirror like what you did like in the past, like do it now. Like don't forget those habits and don't neglect them.
Don't forget and don't neglect. I love that too. So I'm in grad school and okay. Oh, I don't know if y'all heard that sigh, but that whole sigh that Mia just gave me, I hope it traveled to y'all. We want y'all to talk back to us too. So like if you're in grad school, I got my little, like I said, my handy dandy iPad. I want to see what where y'all are. If you're in college, what college you go to, type it in the comments. Tonight is gonna be really good as far as interaction. But I just wanted to like piggyback off of Mia. You have to, I like when you said you asked yourself that question of like, what did I do? What would I do if I wasn't, disrupted by COVID? Like to have like that discipline and stuff. It's insane. Because we think that it's really an inconvenience, but I'm going to go off the record to say I think COVID has been a blessing in certain ways for my personal growth. It's disrupted a lot of things. So we had to walk in here. We can't be together for Outpour this year. We can't hug each other. We can't do certain things. But it's like, wow, I've been reflective. And we've had to pivot individually. And as even, students, as a whole organization. Look at us right now. It's just us. It's a lot. So, like, I guess one of the biggest lessons for me that I've really learned. So God is the giver of perfect gifts, the Bible says, for my churchy folk. So it's like we have time and we don't. That's like one of my biggest lessons. It's like we have time and we don't. And it's so crazy because I think for those tuning in, welcome to Outpour. Our leaders have been praying for students like that, that are having a hard time with adjusting to that new normal or getting things kind of up on your docket for like your priorities, because like you have time and then you don't. Like I don't know. That's just something that I've been hearing in this season. What about you?
I definitely feel like for me, I think like this season is really like emphasizing boldness. I feel like they were because I'm learning that now, and I kind of feel like in this season I'm just relearning myself.
That's good. That's really good.
I think that during COVID and because of the isolation, the social isolation that we were experiencing, I kind of feel like that kind of closed me in. And because of being closed in, I felt like I wasn't, like I didn't really have the chance to be bold. I didn't really have the chance to share my gifts because I was in that isolation, you know what I mean? And so now, like, ever since I cut my hair, I realized, like, wow.
Can we just pause, though? Because I know y'all see this haircut, okay? I know y'all see it. Like, wow, that's what I said, too.
Thank you.
It's great. Like, it's so you.
Thank you.
And you think, like, maybe COVID has something kind of to do with that?
Honestly, I guess...
Maybe the timing, but you just really wanted to do it all along, and God said, go.
I really did, because, like, when I cut my hair, it wasn't just, like, oh, like, I want to do something new. It it was more like there are things that I'm getting rid of, and it's so funny. People always say that
It's a sermon.
a woman.
It's a sermon. She's getting rid of stuff.
Yeah, like they always say that a woman who's about to cut her hair is about to change her life. And I just remember, like, my hair was unruly, but I also kind of felt like there honestly were some parts of my life that just kind of seemed to just really be unmanageable. And I was just to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't care, like, what people, like, are going to say, like, if I cut my hair, because hair is just hair.
Hair is just hair, ladies, if you're out there. Hair is just hair.
And I'm just realizing that, like, there's boldness in beauty, but more so, like, inner beauty, if that makes sense. And I felt like by cutting my hair, I was really able to show people who I am, instead of people like knowing me and recognizing me because of my afro. Because that was always the first thing that people saw, and I kind of used to use that to hide.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like
I know y'all ladies are relating to this. Listen, we've been at home, we've been closed, we've been thinking about different things. We've been in this season of isolation, and I see y'all in the comments and stuff. So this is crazy. This is good.
Yeah, and it's like because like just in general, when it comes to physical appearance, things like clothes and hair and jewelry honestly can be such a distraction, like to like who the person really is. And I feel like people always knew who I was, but people always also used to associate me with my hair and my afro. And I remember growing up, I used to always think, like, if I didn't have my afro, like, how would people see me? Or what would people think of me as? Like, how would people know me as? And would it be as, like, Mia with the afro? Would it be Mia, the girl who cut her hair? Would it be Mia, the one that smiles a lot? Like, what is it? So I finally cut my hair, and I was excited, and I felt like that, to me, that was like the first step to kind of like being bold.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
It was like, you know, I didn't care, and honestly, I cut my hair on a whim. Like, it wasn't really planned. And then recently, like, I cut and colored my hair.
See, double, guys. I'm telling you, it's a season of a lot of different things, but I think Miss Mia's over here is like pretty being free right now. We love it, and freedom looks good on you. Listen, I don't know if you see this, but in the comments they're saying you look beautiful, Mia.
Thank you.
Someone, a Lyrica saying she definitely can relate when it comes to her. We like, sis, we got you. I want y'all to know too. So y'all may know Mia now as a conversationalist or Outpour community member, but she's gifted. Mia, you got introduced to Outpour through dance. Is that correct? So like, how was that? Like, what is your Outpour story? Like, how did you stumble upon it?
So
Come on, big smile.
I will never forget. I remember I went my sophomore year.
Okay.
And
sophomore year.
I remember, like, in my walk with Christ, I think I was still kind of like timid.
Right.
And I was kind of like trying to find like I was still in the middle of finding a Christ-like community at that time.
Right, that's hard.
So I remember, like, when I went, like, I sat with, like, Marissa because she was my big.
Aww. Shout out to Marissa.
Yeah. And I remember, like, so two of, like, my really close friends, Rabia Brown and Asia Jamerson.
That's my sister.
They were up there dancing. And I was like, wow, like, I really miss that.
Yeah.
I really do miss that. And I was like, I wish I could be up there. But I mean, like, I didn't even know about Outpour at the time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, fast forward, like, the semester after, I believe it was spring, I remember, I believe it was Isaiah that reached out to me and was like, hey, like, would you like to be a co-director of the dance team?
Shout out to our minister of music.
And I was like, oh, like, sure, like, why not? And it was crazy because, like, during that time, I feel like I was in isolation. Not in a bad type of isolation. I guess you could say, like, consecration.
Okay.
Because
consecration, that's good.
I noticed that, like, the people I was hanging out with, like, I couldn't really be around them as much anymore. And
Mia is dropping gems, y'all. She's shedding folk. Come on.
Yeah, like, I couldn't really be around them as much anymore. And I had been asking God kind of, like, for different things.
Right.
And I really didn't. I feel like sometimes I just didn't even know, like, what I was asking. I was just like, God, like, what do you want me to do? Because I knew that, like, that was, like, my season, like, to really start walking in my purpose. And sometimes, like, when you start walking in purpose, like, you start, you know, God he can make a way for you, but sometimes you have to leave certain people to, like, go to a higher place. And so
She said sometimes you have to leave certain people to go to a higher place. I'm telling y'all, tonight we're worshiping and you're going to get a word. But this conversation right here is blessing me. So I hope y'all are hitting the share button. This is just my pause, 30-second promo. The bottom, I promise you, I have it right here. It's the bottom left button. Share this video. Because this is great. This is so refreshing. So you wanted to kind of get in a community that you know was going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah.
And kind of you had to leave some folk behind.
Yeah, and
It's hard.
Yeah, and you know what? It was never like, oh, forget them. It was
Right.
It was never that.
That's good.
It was more so just like sometimes like it's like seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like there are just seasons where like you're with those people, and then
Yeah.
some seasons where God's like, okay, like I kind of just need like some me and you time.
Oh my goodness.
And,
I love that. I love how you bring about seasons. I think that's how I kind of got connected to Outpour. I was,
Me too.
I want to say my sophomore year of Hampton.
Okay.
And I was in a season, I'm the church girl, right? Like people could pick up from when I walked around campus and be like, you got church, don't you? I'm like, okay, like I do faithfully on Sundays and I pay my tithes, but like what does that even mean? And I was kind of in a situation, I laugh about this with my closest friends that I got from Hampton, and we always say like we tried to shed and kind of make sure we had our fun and see what we could do and all we could do in college, but the community that we needed that was rooted in God found us. Like you can't run away from that. We were always just walking around, and I think I literally met Mike, and he was like, I'm not gonna tell a story about how I met Mike. Our founder is amazing, y'all. But he, as we, became friends and stuff, he was saying, not only is he a preacher, but he got this little thing called, like, so it was come to this service, come to that service, come here. And I was like, okay. And I came to my first Outpour. I'll never forget. It was like 2017 or something. I was like, what? I was with my friends. And I just loved the atmosphere of how free it was, like in relation to you. So just how in that moment, all the questions I had about, should I be with this group in school? Should I be with that group in school? Like, who should I be with? It was kind of like gone in that moment. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Outpour and then was able to serve. I currently serve as the worship and arts secretary, guys. It's just so many levels because this is a community that you kind of don't shed. You at least have that one person that you connect with from like when these Outpour services, right?
Right.
Like you always have like community of friends.
There really is. And it's so funny that you say like that community of friends because when I started as the co-director for the dance ministry, that's when I feel like I was able to gain like another community of friends because like the girls that I was dancing with, it was like we were just learning like how to worship. It wasn't just, okay guys, like we have to dance for Outpour and it needs to look good.
Come on,
it
that's
was never
good.
like it needs to look perfect. Like the one thing I feel like that made us closer was that like throughout our practices and even like a few hours before, like as you were preparing to go and minister, it was like freedom that was like released. And I had always encouraged them, like whenever you dance, you should never feel like you have to watch someone else to do, you know, a move that maybe you feel led to move, because that move is something that like you're releasing like for you, or maybe that move is something that you're releasing for somebody else. You know? And so I had always like, even like for myself, it's just like that was like the best part, like having a community to just like really dance with and be free in worship with, because again, it's almost like when you sing and like when you guys are improving, it's just kind of like free flowing, like in the spirit. And it's like, it's not like, oh, like, what am I like supposed to sing? What am I like supposed to say?
Right.
Like, it's something that comes naturally, like from the inside.
And I love that. And you know what, Mia? You know what this made me think of? If anybody that is watching, if you were able to come last year, right? Last year's Outpour was in the ballroom.
Yes.
And to expand on that, we couldn't even get to the message. Like,
really didn't.
we couldn't get to the message, okay? We were so just struck by the presence of God, and it was insane. People were getting intimate with God through prayer and just seeing their friends. It's one thing to be nervous to come to kind of like a service or something, but to just kind of go with your friends, and that helps, and to meet new people. I've just never met a person that hasn't had one aspect of Outpour that hasn't like stuck with them, you know? So I'm excited. We're actually about to go worship. Can you believe like time is here? I know, like I'm sad. Like, okay, so I'm looking. And we have a few people tuned in. I'm really, really looking. Oh, I see HU in the house. That's awesome. Hi. So I want to see really, really quick before we wrap up, y'all. I think we have some people in the house that have been tuning into Outpour for a minute now. And I just want to know if you can answer some of these two questions as we get prepared. It's called Outpour Trivia. Okay. And Mia, tell me what you think. Okay. So comment section, I need y'all to be up. So, I have a question. Our founder, Mike Ely, which instrument can he actually play? Can he play the drums, do you think? Or can he play the piano?
Or is it both?
What do y'all think? Real quick. Can he play the drums? Or can he play the piano? I'm seeing people thinking, I think. Can he play the drums or can he play the piano? I'm looking.
It's a little quiet in the comment section.
What do you think? What do you think?
I'm thinking drums and piano.
Drums and piano?
Taking a guess. Don't quote me.
I'm looking. You ready for the answer, Via?
Yeah.
It's not both.
It's just drums.
God uses him through his preaching and the piano. I know. I'm so excited. All right, y'all. We are so excited for y'all to worship with us. Like I said, we are going in and we're about to go pray, lift our hands. We're about to worship. We're coming to your house, okay? Wherever you're watching, just pause for a second. It's going to be Outpour like it always has been, and we cannot wait to worship with you. We'll catch you next year.
Bye.
Bye.